Welcome to the first episode of MikedUp, Exploring the Hidden Game. The point of this channel is to introduce a new perspective of reflecting on the game of basketball. There's been a load of clinics, a load of webinars over the summer looking into different aspects of the game, but I feel there's something missing looking at reflections of coaches within a game. So couldn't really ask for a better start with Ryan Westley, a very good friend of mine. I'm really pleased. Thank you for coming on board, Ryan.
Pleasure's mine.
So Ryan, in this game, is the head coach of Nottingham Hoods. He's also the head coach of Nottingham Trent University, head coach of Wales, and is the owner and director of a company that provides neuro rehabilitation. How very nice.
Yeah, I'm also is that Wales under 20s. I don't want to upset the actual head coach of Wales.
Wales under 20. But I think to go with that impressive CV, I'd also add, and there's not much competition, but probably the best hair in the NBL. I know, again, not much competition at all, but I'll give it to you, especially in the head coaches. But yeah, we'll go straight onto the game. So this is your game at Uxbridge College, so Thames Valley's home court. So what was your game plan heading into this?
Well, we have a long history of Thames Valley, going back to when we was in Division 2. I think we met them a few times in Division 2. We had some good wins against them, and they had some good wins against us. So this was a game we really wanted to prepare for. That year especially, Thames Valley were stacked with a lot of offensive firepower. So a lot of it was how can we slow down a few of their scorers, and then how can we pick apart their defense. So our main thing is that we wanted the game to be really high energy. We really wanted to get out and run in transition, be really physical with them, and be really positive a lot. Thames Valley tend to be they're a very chippy team, and we thought if we could break that apart, they might lose some focus and concentration and fall apart a little bit. So that was kind of our main goals going in.
Okay, great. It must have been quite pleasing not to see Hakeem Silla.
I must have double checked about 3 or 4 times pre-game that whether he was playing or not. That was obviously a big blow for him. He was having an excellent year and finished the year with some great numbers. So that kind of made things a little bit easier from us from the start, really. So
yeah, fantastic player. Just to add, just interesting point to begin with. You sat in the middle of the bench. Was that a deliberate choice?
It is, yeah. So I actually copied the idea from some talks I'd heard from the Reading coach Alan Keane, and I'd been using it to kind of integrate myself more into the players, to get a bit more of a feel and communicate with them a bit better, to kind of put us all on the same kind of hierarchy, really, so they knew that this was a two-way relationship, and it wasn't too much me looking down on them. So I did it a few times throughout the season, and it worked well. It allowed me to kind of get more of a feel of what they were feeling rather than what I thought they were feeling, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right, great. And it seemed from the first couple of possessions, Thames Valley was in a 2-3 zone.
Yeah.
Were you expecting that, or is that...
I was expecting the zone at some stage, but not to start with. It made a bit more sense with Hakeem out, but I didn't expect it from the start. They went into a zone quite a bit during the game, which surprised me. I knew it was coming, but I just didn't think it was going to be that much. So
okay, and you've got one of the best. Oh,
yeah,
Jaffa with the stuffer right there. What a dug for the big.
Yeah, that was he. I mean, this is one of the best games I think he had during the season. He really set the tone early with that move, and he was really unfortunate in the last quarter. He got a nasty elbow to the eye, which all swelled up, so he couldn't finish the game. But he was huge for us in this game. So
I don't think Jaffa with the stuffer will stick, but
I'll tell him you said that. So
we can try. But Good's going to work early. Was that a deliberate attempt with Silla being out?
Yeah, exactly. So even with Hakeem in the lineup, we wanted to attack them as early as we could, maybe get them in foul trouble. But with him being out, we had to attack the paint as soon as we can. And Garrison is very athletic, and his parents were there for that game as well. So I think that gave him a bit of extra motivation. So yeah, he went to work really, really early, and I think him and Jaffa set a really big tone early on.
And he's your
So
American import. You had two, right?
yeah, Garrison and Demetrius were our two. So yeah, Good and Houston were our two Americans this year.
Okay, great. Now, I noticed earlier you put Good on Taylor Johnson.
Yeah,
And for me, I'd say Taylor Johnson was joint MVP this year. I thought he was phenomenal.
yeah, he was.
So what was the rationale behind Good being on Johnson?
So the idea was to disrupt. We really wanted to disrupt Freckleton and Johnson early. The idea was I kind of, out of the two, I thought Johnson was probably the more dynamic and just a bit more dangerous than out of the two. And Garrison is pretty quick on his feet, and he's got a lot of length and athleticism. And I thought that could really disrupt him early on. The idea was if he didn't get going early on, then he maybe wouldn't be so clinical later on down the game. So
I like this ability of him as well. Get the rebound, being able to push the ball up the floor.
yeah, he really, when he's got that confidence and he gets the rebound and gets down, he's also a really excellent passer. He's got really good court vision, so he's really dangerous in transition when he wants to be.
Mm-hmm. Now with Mitchell, I know has been your point guard for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you allow the play calling to come from the guys, or are you out there making decisions for them?
It depends on the situation. I will normally tell Luke and the other guards kind of what I'm looking for and why early on, and allow them to make that decision. If I disagree with something, or if I feel that we need to do something specifically, I will normally call it, or I'll tell him like the next set, if there's a stoppage, we've got to do this. But it's about half and half really. So sometimes he'll look for me what to ask, and other times he's able to call that by himself. So it kind of depends really. So it's good that I have that relationship with him and Demetrius and Matt Parker when he comes on, that they're able to take that authority to do that, but then to look to me if they need it. So
okay. And with Thames Valley's offense now, it's funny for me because the assistant coach of Thames Valley, Pete Deppish, was my university coach. And a lot of the plays I see were the plays that I was a part of. And yeah, obviously not had the success that Johnson has within them. But do you scout their plays? Do you know the actions?
So we knew they like to use a double ball screen quite a bit. They like to get Martel off of kind of like some baseline cuts and Blaine off some cuts like that off of the big guy. They like to go into the high post a lot as well. So we kind of try to take away some of their actions in order to, and make them shoot lower percentage shots, and take away what they wanted to do and make them think on their feet really. So
within practice, do you drill that, or do you just provide specific actions?
A bit of both. It kind of depends what else we need to do in that practice, but I'll always try to go through kind of what the other team want to do and how we're going to stop that, and then practice that. I was quite lucky enough that we had quite a large number at practice a lot of times, so I could put together like a practice team to go against the guys at practice. So.
Houston came out firing here. He had a great start. You could basically say he lifted off. No, that was terrible. Ignore that one. But yeah, no, he had a great start. Was that intentional, or are you looking to guys attack, or is that within the offense?
It was within the offense, and then once he got his confidence up, he kind of lifted off, as we should say. So
a lot better than me.
He had a slower start to the season than I think he expected, and then once he got comfortable, he was easily one of the best scorers in D1. I think he had some superb games, especially towards either side of Christmas. So,
for anyone who doesn't know, Houston's number 2 with the headband. American.
American
university as well, right?
Yeah, it was at the university. So I think we had just had a really big university game in which he went off. So I think he was riding the confidence from that. That was kind of his breakout game. Okay. And I think maybe this was probably his breakout game for us as well. So
that's brilliant.
Yeah, he's smooth.
Step back, great shot.
Really, really top guy. Really, really hard worker. Really top guy. I know he's trying to look for his next step in his professional career. So really hope he gets in a situation which is good for him.
What I really enjoyed watching this game is the chemistry that you guys played with, especially the noise on the bench.
Yeah.
Was that deliberate?
Yeah, it was very deliberate. We knew that if we were very positive throughout, there was a few tricks that I taught the guy to kind of get in the other team's head, and it really showed in this game. To be honest, there were, we were down for more than a game than I realised watching it back, and for us to come, I think we were 10 down with about 3 minutes to go in the third, and I think we were either up by 2 or down by 2 by the end of it. So, everyone was really good energy in this game, and it really translated into everyone's confidence, I think. So,
looking at your stat, this could be arguably your best game of the year. Your field goal percentage was 53%. You had the highest rebounding game of the season. Your assists you had 22 assists. So yeah, fantastic game for you guys.
For me personally, it was probably the best game that I felt that I coached this year. It was a very difficult year. We had some really good moments, and some really not so good moments. So this has definitely showed our potential as a team. Really showed our potential as a team, and I think if we had one more year together, I think we could have been really dangerous in the league, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And now I've seen you've put Tom Atkinson,
Yep,
to the subs chair. What's the rationale behind that?
So he had a good start, but he struggled with injury throughout the year, and he was just coming back off of him and Matt Ward-Hibbert were both just coming back off of injury for this game. So it was also good, Jaffa and Good starting together, I think just gave us a bit of an edge physically that I wanted to establish early.
Okay.
And then when Tom came in, he had a great game here as well. He moves really well off the ball.
He was one rebound off a double-double.
Really? Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
And yeah, he's a very underrated passer. He moves very well off the basket, off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of used him to kind of change things up, and Lauritz and Garrison did a really good job to start with of being physical inside, and Tom came in and just gave us something different. So
just want to take this moment to say thank you to Upstream Media. You saw their logo there on the replay. I was in contact with the gentleman who runs that organisation, and he kindly said we could use this game for this channel. So thank you very much to them.
Yeah, they do a great.
Now, I don't know if you remember the game well, but Blaine Freckleton just hit a 3-pointer. Can you recall what happens on the next couple of plays?
Yeah, we mess up 2 screen coverages, and he pulls 2 threes off of those and hits them. I probably quite quietly have a mini stroke after that. So I think this is one of them. Yeah, I think we had planned to switch a lot of ball screens.
What's the rationale behind that? Why did you want to switch?
I like to switch because I find it to be a little bit more aggressive, and especially in Division 1, there's very few teams that will attack a mismatch in the paint. We're also quite big and physical as a team, so even if we do have a mismatch in the paint, people like Demetrius and especially Luke Mitchell, they're actually not. We're not terrible at defending that. We worked on a lot in practice on making sure that we front after we switch and stuff. And I know Blaine and Johnson and Macklemore can both shoot off the screen as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was, rather than kind of risk opening ourselves up with a trap or a hard head, that we would just straight switch it and try and keep them in front of us and have a hand up and make them go past us so we could rotate.
So Blaine's obviously on fire right now. He's just hit 3 in a row. Yeah. Do you look for an adjustment, or just try and stick to the game plan?
I think in this situation, I think I stuck with it, but I think we picked him up a bit more aggressively full court. And then I think I switched Tom and Garrison, who they were guarding. So normally I think they would use the big guys at Rex. I can't pronounce his name. Rezic. He would set the pick, Rezic, and then it would be easier for Garrison to switch on than it would be for Tom. Okay. I think Garrison would be a bit more confident in the perimeter, guarding the perimeter. So
Matthew Parker had a great game for you.
Yeah, again, we had a few. We were very, very young this year. I was, I was 30 this year, and I was by far one of the oldest guys there. I think Matt Wood-Hibbert is the second oldest, and he's a couple of years younger than me. So we were very young, and Matt was one of the group that's come from Nottingham Academy that's worked their way up through. He's gone to university and come back, and has now established himself as an excellent, Division 1 role player. So this was a game that he had a lot of confidence going into. Hopefully, managed to get him some good early minutes. And it benefited us really right down the stretch. So
That's a tough one, Matt, right there. I thought that was.
Yeah, the great thing about Matt Parker is that he's super tough. Like he's really, you'll see it later on. He takes a few right in the chest from McMorran and from Freckleton and just kind of shrugs it off. So he can take a lot of physicality, and he likes to be physical. And he's also, what I like about Matt, he's super composed on the ball. Like he really moves it well. Doesn't really panic under pressure. So he was really good for our offense, especially when some of our scorers were off. So
was this what you wanted as the final possession?
This was exactly how I drew it up. So exactly how we practice it in practice. Even the roll around the rim to kill a few seconds, which I think your dad taught me that one. So
you dropped to your knees out of disbelief.
It was in absolute exhaustion, I think, after that one. So.
Already, it's the first quarter.
I'm not as fit as I used to be, mate. So
that was you got to be pleased. Away from home, 25 points. Got to be happy with that. 24 is obviously a lot. Thames Valley score a lot, but to have 25 on the board already, got to be pleased.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. All through the season, we were really our offense was never really the problem. We had a squad where any kind of 4 or 5 people could go off for 15, 20 at any given moment, really. So,
okay. Now, something I noticed. Let's play in again. Missed that one. Something I noticed looking at stats in this game and compared to the overall season. For the season, you averaged 32.7 rebounds a game. In this game, you managed to get 44. Is that something you consider? Is that something that the reason why that happened?
I think from my point of view, it was probably the emphasis that I put on rebounding. In our scout, that was kind of the first thing that I wrote in massive capital letters, and in hindsight, it's something that I should have focused more on in the season in general. But I think it was a direct result of the emphasis that we put on that. I think for this game, we all provided our own scout. So I asked the guys to watch some tape and give me some feedback on what they thought, and nearly everyone said that we have to win the battle of the boards. So we knew that was going to be a really big moment for us. So.
Why did you do that? Why did you ask the guys to create the scout?
I did it a few times, and ironically, they were all our best games. I think it just it's very it allows the guys to be more engaged, because I don't want to take for granted that everybody learns and understands information in the same way I do, and I don't want if I present information in a certain way, it's coming from my own how I think it should be done. But it gave these guys a chance to kind of present information in ways that they would have to understand. And if you have 12, 13 guys look at something, then hopefully you're going to get some variation as well. Maybe something that I've missed or something that I don't really see as important. They're going to justify why it's important to them and to the team. So,
and any coaches listening on this and they think, I could try that. Is there things they need to consider?
I think it's giving the guys some sort of guidelines of what it is you're looking for. Some of them may never have done a scout before, so it is actually a lot more. It's not just watching a game and writing down some thoughts on it. You have to. There could be certain things that you're looking for, and just an emphasis that there's no wrong answers. To be honest, like even if it's just a feeling, like you get the feeling that these guys would crack under a certain situation, or that although something appears like it is, it may not be the case. Someone could be having the game of their life, or whatever. It's every bit of information is useful, to be honest. So
okay, and I've noticed you're in a 2-3 zone. What's your reason for that?
Wanted to slow the game down for them a little bit. It also allowed me some time to kind of change up what they were doing. They were getting a lot of paint touches to start with. I wanted to kick them out of the paint. That's a tough look there. And just kind of, I guess, just change the flow of the game and get them out of their comfort zone. They don't shoot I know Blaine hit a few threes in the first quarter, but apart from that, they didn't shoot the ball particularly well. So it also allowed me to get, the guys. I like to be really aggressive on the perimeter in man-to-man. So it kind of gave us a chance to not take a break, but take some of the edge off of the guys. So I don't think
man certainly worked, because Thames Valley all year they were shooting 35% from three, and in this game they only shot 29. So the plan certainly came off.
I mean, I don't think they, apart from one of Blaine's threes in the first quarter, I don't think many threes they hit were, it was as a result of them playing good basketball rather than us not executing, I think. So, that one that Johnson just hit was at the end of a shot clock. He had a guy in his face. It's just, guys are really good players at the end of the day. So
you were quick on that call there. Travel.
Yeah.
Sorry, straight away.
I think I nearly ran on court then after that.
Now you've called a timeout. Is there a certain structure to your timeouts, or are they?
I normally looking back, I probably should have called one in the first quarter after Blaine hit those threes. But I will normally take one halfway through a quarter just to kind of readjust, see what's going on. If we're on a run, then I won't tend to. But the game had got a little bit stagnant, so it was just kind of a chance to re-emphasize some.
You've only scored 2 points in 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, so I probably was telling them I mean, out of this we executed flow really, really well, and I think in the first half we could have been a little bit more clinical inside the paint, but the looks that we got were really, really good. They just didn't finish. So
you mentioned a word there, flow. What do you mean by that?
So flow is a set that we run that I kind of adapted from a number of teams I've seen use it, but especially the Australian national team. It's pretty much a kind of like a semi-transition offense. It gets a lot of movement going. It gets a lot of handoff. It's quite aggressive the way that I do it. It just gets a lot of cutting and movement. It's something we kind of went down to when things weren't going too well, because it's a relatively easy structure that spreads the floor. So,
and I'm a fan of Luke Mitchell. He his defensive pressure on Blaine for the next couple of segments. Look at him; he's straight on him already. Is that an adjustment that you encouraged, or do you let the players sort of say, "I'm going to take that guy"?
No, that was something that was. So I would say that we wanted the guards to pick up the other guards pretty quick. So Blaine, Johnson, and McLemore I wanted picked up before, that we crossed kind of 3/4 court, to be honest. So I wanted them picked up as early as we could. I really wanted the other guards to try and win the game for them. But
that's tough from now. Wow.
Yeah. Luke, as there, like, he picked him up really easy and then picked his pocket. Luke has a very, very high basketball IQ, especially defensively. And when he's on the floor, he kind of knows what I want and is able to direct other guys to do that as well.
So back-to-back threes from McLemore there.
Yeah.
Is that something you just move on from?
I mean, I've played against Martel enough times to know that he could do nothing all game and then hit 4 of those in a row, and you can do nothing about it.
Yeah.
So it was something that, the game had picked up a little bit. I didn't want to, I just called a timeout. I didn't really want to cause another timeout. I probably had a word in someone's ear to say, we got to pick him up earlier. Powell did throughout the game. I know he made a bad turnover there, but really physical with him. And we actually thought we actually made a judgment call that we were going to give him probably the most or the least attention out of him, Freckleton and Johnson, simply because we knew him so well. We knew what he was going to do, what he wasn't going to do. our main focus with him was that Power was going to be on him for most of the game, and just to make life as difficult as possible for him. He was going to hit some, he was going to hit some tough shots, and he was going to miss some easy ones. That's kind of who he is, really. So
it's interesting you say that, because Macklemore, he averaged 18 field goals a game. In this game, he shot 24. So
so
the game plan worked.
Yeah, I wanted to, for me, Johnson and Freckleton were their the X factors for them.
Okay.
Whenever Johnson and Freckleton both had good games, Thames Valley tended to win.
Okay.
Whereas Macklemore, I think, is going to get his 20 regardless of what happens. So.
Mm-hmm. And I think you've brought on a young player on the court now. 43.
Mr. So this was our big Greek guy. His name's Thanos, which at the time was perfect for us with all the Avengers stuff. And unfortunately, he left halfway through the season due to work commitments. But he came in a couple of times. He was really skilled. A really big body, and gave us some really good minutes. So I try to rotate as much as I can in the first half, and get if I can rotate through 9 or 10 in the first half, I'm pretty happy with that.
As much as 10, you try and get to 10.
Yeah, try and get to 10. It's simply because I've been in teams where I didn't play in the first half, and then I'd expected to come on the second half and shoot the ball. And I know doing that stone cold without even getting your feet wet in the game can be really difficult. So if someone can come in and do 2 minutes, then I would rather that than do nothing at all, really. So.
Wow. I feel Thames Valley make a little bit of a mistake here. They go to a 2-3 zone.
Yeah.
Matthew Ward-Hibbert's on the floor.
Yeah. We kind of exploited that a lot, and this was his first game back from injury. He had the worst luck this season. He broke his wrist against Reading, and then on the first game back against, I can't remember who it was against, he sprained his ankle. so this was his comeback off of back-to-back injuries. He's still on a bit of a minute restriction, but he had something like 15 points in as many minutes, I think. So. Once he's hot, as every other player in the NBL will know, then there's really not much that you can do if you leave him that open. So
now, do you let the game flow naturally, or are you calling sets to get him a shot?
Half and half. We actually did a really good job of finding him when he was hot, and he moves pretty well off the ball, especially in transition. He always runs really, really wide. We got the ball early into Garrison's hands, and Garrison was able to find him there as well. So it's kind of half and half. I trust the guys a lot of the time to recognise the hot hand. If not, then we can run something to get him open. I don't think anybody recognises early. So
you said something there I find quite interesting. You want to get the ball in Garrison's hands early.
Yeah.
And why is that?
He's a really good distributor of the ball. He's very, very unselfish, almost to a fault. Where there's been times where I've had to tell him to look more for his own, look. He really struggled to score the ball at the start of the season, and he's a really Matt solved that one a little bit there, I think. So, especially in transition, Garrison commands so much attention when he's attacking the basket. So if we can get it into him, get Garrison into the paint, he's really good at kicking. He's tall and athletic, so he can see over people and distribute. So that was
I just found it interesting. You're encouraging one of your big guys to get the ball in their hands early in the offense.
Yeah. Like as you can see, he Garrison can handle the ball, and you'll see later in the game once he gets ahead of steam. Not a lot of players in the league can kind of match his athleticism at that height, I think. So, that's a really tough. It's a good challenge, but it's just a really good look.
Them, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a little smirk on with that as well.
Yeah.
Interesting character, Mr. Freckleton.
Yeah, he can shoot the basketball. I'll give him that.
For sure. Yeah, very dynamic scorer.
So with the zone, is Good meant to just be standing at the high post?
Yeah, so I knew we kind of got early on that the big guy at the back, he likes to sink really, really low under the basket. So
Sorry, that's Johnson at his
the
back right there, isn't it? Blimey.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, if they can go right, yeah. So the space was in the middle. So if you notice, we run a few guys baseline and across. It was kind of just if the ball goes into the middle, then either he's wide open or someone's going to collapse in on him, which means that someone else is going to be open. So I really like especially against a 2-3. I really like the ball to go into the middle. Like Juffer's in acres of space here.
Mm-hmm.
He needs the ball a little bit more.
Especially good passing.
You know,
It's a great spot for him.
yeah, so like you see Demetrius is in the corner. Ritz has taken the big guy, so Delaney's got a really easy route to the basket. So I think if you look at the game, I think we got loads of opportunities in kind of like not directly under the basket, but kind of between the charge circle and the free throw line. So that's where I saw the big guy really sunk back, and this is why we did such a good job of attacking early on. So
a great pass from Demetrius there.
Yeah.
It's quite a crazy sequence of possessions right then.
Yeah, I don't know what was. I'm guessing he was looking for a foul. I don't know what was happening on that one.
There was less
I
time.
know I saw we had about just under 4 seconds left, and I said to Wardy, I was like, get yourself on, and I like as soon as that happened, like Luke knew to find him, and
there we go.
He's very crafty, Mr. Ward Hibbert. So we got the ball in his hands with a good 2 seconds to go, and he managed to finish. So
love that. So you're going into the half 6 down, 50-40.
Yeah.
Do you take that?
What's that? Sorry.
You take that. You're down 6 away at Thames Valley.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'm not really happy about them scoring 50, but happy with our offense, and so I'll take being 3 baskets down away. I think were they second in the league, third in the league at that time?
Third in the league.
So I'll take that. So yeah, behind Hemel, wasn't it, or something?
There are other teams in NBL Division 1. No, I'd take it. Down 6, Thames Valley.
Yeah. Biggest focus for me, I think I yelled at them at half time. Don't let Freckleton score any threes.
Yeah.
And I think it was just to keep going, really. I didn't really see any. We had some minor lapses in defense, and that was the times where they put a lot of scores on very, very quickly. But once we stuck to our guns, they found it really difficult to score against us. So it was kind of just keep going and keep executing, and it will come. So
okay. Now you said at halftime that you did not want Blaine Freckleton, number 7 for Thames Valley, to get another 3 off. Is that why? You begin to make adjustments on defense. So Mitchell starts on it.
Yeah, so I kind of threw bodies at him to keep as fresh and to give him different looks. Luke's really good at picking up full court, and so was kind of, you can just see him off the ball as well. He kind of really doesn't leave his hip.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
carry on.
Yeah, so I gave him some veteran tricks. There's a few times, if you notice, Luke just walks straight across his path during dead ball situations. I just wanted to frustrate him, and I think he actually ends up getting unsportsmanlike during the game, and it was just there was some cheap tricks involved to trying to get in his head and disrupt him, because I felt during the game Johnson, I think, was maybe struggling a little bit to get everything that he wanted, and I think Freckleton had a lot more success against us in the first half, so he was kind of the X factor for me during that game.
Okay. Yeah,
he was the guy who was gonna beat us that game.
He had one of his highest turnovers of the game that day. So
yeah,
fair play to you. That worked. No, I like the idea of multiple people guarding him. Has to adjust his offensive game plan then.
Yeah, I think we put Garrus on him at some stage. I had Demetrius on him at some stage. I had Luke. Luke is very physical off the ball, So it's very once the guy gives it up, Luke makes it very difficult for them to catch it again in a decent position. Demetrius is, his foot speed is very, very quick, so it's very difficult to get him on his back foot, and then Garrison's obviously got the size advantage over him, so he doesn't have the light of day to do what he normally does. So
it's been a very scrappy start. Was that deliberate?
No, I think I said to them.
I appreciate your honesty.
We kind of I asked them to continue being physical, and I think we actually upped the intensity and the physicality in the second half. I think we got what I call riding the rest momentum. I think we got some calls that went our way, which kind of helped us out a lot. And I think it was against these two teams. I think it was going to get physical, but we just took advantage of it where we can, really. So,
and so the full court pressure links in with your desire to contain Thames Valley?
Yeah, so I knew from scouting that Thames Valley like to run through sets kind of in their entirety to get their looks. So the idea was one to contain and make their main guys give up the ball, and then to run the clock down. So when they were running through their sets, they either had to rush or go for a look they're not really used to. Nice move, Larry.
Yeah, great pass by Houston as well.
Yeah, in order to kind of slow their offense down and disrupt them. Because I know in this game, I think the big guy took more shots than he normally does.
Yeah.
Same as Aqua Davis as well. I think we just wanted to make the other guys try and beat us rather than their main guys, really.
They haven't scored yet in 2.5 minutes, so something's working.
We're really trying to attack the paint still, trying to get trying to make, especially Martel and number 0, trying to make them play defense, really. The idea was to get, I know Martel likes to kind of snatch a little bit sometimes, so maybe try and get him some foul trouble. And then I said to Ritz, every opportunity he gets to back down the big guy, you got to go at him, and he's going to try and block everything, and there's another foul against him. So,
Ritz is your Dutch.
Ritz, right? Yeah. The Dutch destroyer.
Is that self-proclaimed, or was that given to him?
I won't tell you the story behind that one. So
we'll move on quickly.
So I think that's now number 0's third foul, and I think especially if I look back at the game, like Garrison really has a really great third quarter, and I think the big guy being on 3 fouls, I really don't think he tries to get any more foul trouble, so it gives Garrison a lot more space to kind of work inside and attack the paint, because he knows that's going to be on the guy's mind all the time, and he's not going to challenge for as much, otherwise he's going to be risking that foul. That would have been a nice pass.
Now, are you one of these coaches that recognise someone's on a certain amount of fouls and will look to attack them?
Yeah, it depends on the player, but in this game especially, like we knew that if 0 was out of the game, that they would find it really difficult to stop us in the paint. Nice defense, guys. He that's it's tough call. That's that size advantage we would have had over them, and you can see it when he's out of the game. They didn't really have anyone else who kind of like to be in the block. A lot of their other guys like to go out into the perimeter, so he really gave them a lot of balance. We knew if he was out of the game, then they would really struggle. So
now you have 2 guys sitting on the bench with you. Are they your assistant coaches?
So Scott is the assistant coach, and then Aaliyah she's like a team manager, but she helps out with a lot of the scouting and coaching as well. Yeah.
Did you give them responsibilities?
Yeah. So Scott is really good. He's a big numbers guy, so he counts things like deflections for me, like things that don't show up in in the box score, so he'll count deflections that we get. He tends to count also if someone has scored on either team more than twice in a row. He'll come and find me for that.
Mm-hmm.
So he does things like that, and then Aaliyah would she would kind of spot the things that maybe I've missed, or give me a fresh perspective on some stuff. So if I'm concentrating on off the ball, but she sees someone is tired or is not doing what they should be doing, then it's really good to have an extra pair of eyes for that.
And are they free to speak to the guys when they feel they need to?
Yeah. They will come and kind of double check with me, but yeah, they pretty much have the free reign to kind of, I trust them that they would be saying the right stuff. So
okay. And Mitchell just then called a play. Well, I presume it's head tap.
It is, yeah, head tap. Yeah,
it is a tap of the head, so I presume it is head tap. What's the thinking behind that? What's the play?
Head tap is a pin down zipper cut into a pick and roll, and then the roller goes down into another pin down for the weak side guy who moves across. And it's a good way to get into a pick and roll situation. You can see we do it a lot with Delaney and Garrison. So Martel and the big guy are kind of having to play a lot of defense.
Mm-hmm.
It's also good to get a post up with some weak side action as well, because you can just feed it straight into the post after the pin down, and then the action still carries on in the on the weak side, so it gets a lot of movement there as well. So it's kind of a simple set that we kind of go to. I've run it for a couple of years, so the guys know it pretty well. We've got a lot of wrinkles out of it. So
Houston executes well in it.
Yeah. He get Powell and Houston coming off the screen. Well, when we set a good screen and use it aggressively, then it's it was a really good. It's a very simple but effective play.
Here it is now, right?
Yeah. So you look how deep Eamon is. So it really allows Houston to. He probably should have taken a few extra dribbles to get into the paint, but it really allowed us to attack the paint and get in deep when we wanted to. Really.
And was that? Did you call that out? Did you want that adjustment, or did?
Yeah, it was something. It was an easy. Oh, you gotta hear that one, Luke. Because we knew Eamon was on 3 fouls. We knew he was going to sit back. And I really wanted us to get to the free throw line and kind of kill the game off that way. And try and get people into more fouls and get good looks. Like throughout the season, we had mixed. We got lucky with that one as well. I was always, trying to hammer home. We've got to get the ball into the paint early and aggressively, and we really did in this game. And we got to the free throw line a fair bit and put them under some pressure. So,
yeah, free throws in this game, I feel if you had hit a couple more, you might have pushed the lead out.
At
some point.
Bane of my existence. So. Fun fact: Garrison started the season shooting left-handed, and then switched to right halfway through the season.
Thanks for that. What was the reason behind that?
He has a rotator cuff injury in his right shoulder, and so during the summer retrained himself to shoot left-handed, and then it wasn't really working for him, and then decided to switch back to the right. So
that's tough.
Yeah. So when he first arrived, and the first individual that me and him had, and he's shooting left-handed. I remember going back to watch the video, and I'm thinking, "It's just the same." I was like, "It's the same guy. What the hell has happened?" Yeah, it was interesting.
No, he had, I think, his best game of the year. 21 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. You can't argue with that.
Very, very well-rounded player. Super athletic as well. And he was playing. We had 2 or 3 guys playing at 80-85% health-wise all year. Really struggled with injury. He missed probably 3 games before Christmas. This might be one of his last games before Christmas, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same as Atkinson. When they're both healthy, they were really, really good. But just we were. I think we had maybe 3-4 games throughout the whole season where we had a full squad. I think so. We peaked too early in our first game of the season against you guys, I think.
That was a good one.
That was a great game, yeah. Yeah, see, as I mentioned earlier, like Matty just being really physical with Martel there. Like, 9 times out of 10, that's an open layup for Martel, but and then he just runs the floor just like that. When it's that easy,
Now Thames Valley call a timeout.
Yeah.
Are you spending your time out considering what they're going to change, or is the focus entirely on yourself?
It sometimes it depends who I'm coaching against. Sometimes it depends on the game. So, there's a massive echo.
Sorry,
Have you pressed something? There's a massive echo.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
There's a massive echo now. There you go. It's gone now. So it depends who I'm coaching against and kind of the flow of the game. If I think they're going to change something, then I'll put that in. Otherwise, it'll around that time I may want to call a timeout myself. So it's kind of like having a freebie. So I would just reiterate what we're doing well and try. They caught us like 2 or 3 times with this.
Yeah.
So
a few times.
Yeah. If teams show some patterns of what they do at certain points in the game, then I will try and have to see if they're going to put that in. But normally, I just kind of re-emphasize what we're doing well and try and change what we're not doing so well. I need to be better at my timeout communication. I take a long time to say stuff. So.
And how many points do you try and get across?
This is the thing. It depends, and it's something I need to be a little bit more structured in. Really, maybe 3 or 4, but I should probably have that, to be honest.
Okay.
I noticed.
Sorry, Karen.
Go on. What was you going to say?
I was going to say I noticed, not on this particular free throw, but on the previous one, you're in dialogue with your players.
I talk to them all the time.
Is that a tactical change, or are you just motivating them?
It depends really. Sometimes it's tactical. Sometimes I say, if it's an individual thing, I'll say, hey, this was a great look. This could have been a better look, or it could be like great job. Or sometimes I just, I say if I see that they're like becoming too pent up, I'll say something to make them laugh or to chill them out. Or sometimes they come over to me and say something. So I like to have a lot of dialogue with my players all the time. I talk to the bench all of the time. I like to know what they're thinking at that point. And what they feel at that point, what they feel is going well and not so well. I like to talk to the bench and ask what they would do in these situations and stuff. That's why I sit in the middle sometimes. It's easier for me to talk to them and still see what's going on as well.
You'll do that within a game?
Or... Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. It's a lot of trust in your guys. They must like that.
You'll have to ask them. So.
Something else I noticed is you really went after the offensive boards.
Mm-hmm.
I know you talked about rebounding was part of your scout. Now, do you send certain people to offensive boards, or do you allow player instinct?
I tend to go more towards player instinct, but I like at least a 4 and a 5 to go for it. And then if I've got someone who is a particularly strong offensive rebounder, he's injured for this game unfortunately, but one of my youngsters, Victor, he's a pretty strong rebounder on the offensive glass, and so is Demetrius. So I kind of give them the free rein to, if they're in a position, if they're close to the basket, then go get it. If not, then get back. Especially against Thames Valley, who aren't massively quick in transition. I felt I gave them a little bit more freedom about who could go and get it. So especially with Silla off the floor as well, there was a lot of opportunities. So
yeah, he was massive for them this year. 22 points, and 14 rebounds a game.
He had a few 20 games, didn't he? We had 20 rebounds, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. And he's not tall. He's like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, he's a great player. I think I wouldn't say he's underrated, but I'd say people don't consider him enough in scouts as much as that I think they should.
For sure, I think he's one of their biggest X factors, because he's not he's not like when Blaine or Johnson scores, it's them who scored, but you'll come to the end of the game and you'll look at the stat sheet and you think Silla's got like 20 points and you can't remember him scoring.
Yeah,
So
very good player.
yeah.
Now, the previous play, you're encouraging speed.
Yeah.
Was that deliberate?
Yeah, we want to get up and down the floor as quick as we can. From the scout, we knew that in transition, Thames Valley aren't the best defensively. I really wanted to get as many open baskets as we could and easy buckets. There's, as we saw halfway through this quarter with Garrison and Tom, really got 3 or 4 really good looks early. We knew they were in, I think at this point, they're in team fouls as well.
Mm-hmm.
So really wanted to attack them before they got set up and just, again, put them under more pressure, really. So I wanted to increase the pace of the game because if we could do that, I don't think they would stay composed the way things were going at this point. There's another turnover. I think Demetrius takes off during this part early in the fourth as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, your plan worked. You scored 17 points in the last 4 minutes and 19 seconds in this quarter. So, yeah, credit to you there, sir.
Thanks. Yeah.
There he goes again.
I've got to give all the credit to everybody else. So.
My mum and dad, all that.
Yeah. Yeah. my first ever under 14 coach in Steve Darlow.
No, you scored 22 points this quarter. Kept them to 15.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
That's a great.
I think the kind of looks at Thames Valley we're getting were a lot more difficult. I don't think they really got anything easy in that quarter. We were really, really physical with them. We weren't in a lot of foul trouble, so I kind of was like up and I was like, if we wanted to we had the luxury of giving away a few cheap fouls if we needed to. So
yeah, and again, one of these guys that I feel go unnoticed is Luke Mitchell. He didn't score a point in this game. He got 5 rebounds and 4 assists. Now you'd look at that and think, did he have a good game? But I thought his defense was brilliant. And
yeah, he's an excellent floor general. So he knows even if he struggles offensively, I know Luke's going to give me a great defensive game, and he's going to be really smart and help out other people as well. Like he understands the game in a very similar way that I do. Mm-hmm. So he's someone who I really trust out there to kind of go through with kind of what I expect. So I think this was a big point as well. Like Delaney brings in. We've got the momentum right now, and he's called everyone in to make sure we're all on the same page, really. So, and I think this was Blaine's. That's on sportsmanlike on Blaine, wasn't it? Off the ball.
I think it was on their big fella.
Was it on the big fella?
Yeah, 31. But I think you're right. It is certainly a momentum was certainly in your favour there.
Yeah. So.
Matthew Ward-Hibbert's back on.
Last couple of seconds.
No more. I don't think there's a buzzer beater on this one.
No, I think Demetrius turns it over. Actually, he should have. Yeah. Yeah, he's got to give that one up.
Yeah,
I can make that buzzer beater here. Actually, I think I went crazy at this. I think is this where Johnson gets a full court layup?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't happy.
No, but it's still, I still think scoring 22 points. I think you scored 20 plus in three of the 4 quarters.
Yeah,
you've come down to Thames Valley, given a great account of yourselves, and it's come off. Yeah.
It was definitely a massive highlight of the season, this game for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Drop your knees again. Now, is that do you overlook? Do you overlook that?
It's again quite situational. We just had a really, really excellent kind of last 3 or 4 minutes. And then to have a little blip at the end is kind of, it's one of those ones where I think you should read the room.
Okay.
So if people are, it's a really nice slip. If people are, sniping at each other and beating each other back, then I will normally say, look, let's just learn from it and move on. If we're in a good mood, I will probably mention it and say, look, this can't happen. But then I always try to finish on something positive. So nice cut, nice pass.
His cutting off the ball is fantastic.
Yeah, he is one of the sneakiest offensive rebounders for someone who is not overly athletic. He had some games where he was really, I think in this game especially as well, he had some really good rebounding numbers.
He had 9 rebounds in this game. But yeah, when we played you guys, I said don't underestimate Tom Atkinson. The guy can get a double-double.
Yeah. Because he really, as the season went on, he really worked on his shot as well. He had a few games where he was trying to hit from outside.
So what were your thoughts going into the fourth? You're up 1.
It was, I think, just I try not to overplay the situation too much. It was kind of like, just keep doing what you're doing, keep the ball moving offensively, keep attacking them, get to the free throw line, and offensively just be physical. Defensively just be physical with them. Like, if they're gonna score, make it really, there's got to be a really different, they've got to have made a great shot rather than something which they're comfortable doing. So
something else I noticed you did defensively, you start running Thames Valley off the 3-point line.
Yeah, so I had an inkling that because Blaine hadn't hit anything in the third, and Johnson had a tough time as well. I didn't want them to get hot. And again, we had some fouls to give, and we were protecting the rim pretty well. Garrison and Ritz and Tom, when he was on, were rotating pretty well. So I wanted to run off and try and make him put it on the floor and go one more. If we could burn a little time, increase. I think they had quite a few turnovers in this game as well. So
yeah, they had 22 turnovers.
Nice shot.
There's Matt Parker with the 3.
He hit 2 big threes in this game, I think.
Yeah, big minutes.
Yeah,
he does a great job.
Yeah, he
and
did.
Good's back on Johnson.
We really messed up that rotation there.
What should have happened?
We should have. I think Tom should have come over on the strong side, and Garrison definitely shouldn't have been as narrow. He shouldn't have got blown by that easy.
Baseline a bit too much. So is it a bit squeaky bum time yet, or you?
At this point, I was probably very locked in. Yeah, I was probably stressing over every decision that I made, to be honest. So.
And did you really believe you'd be in this position?
Yeah, 100%. I really, for every game, I'm kind of, if we're 20 down with 2 minutes to go, I'm still trying to win the game. That's just kind of, there's very, very few times where I will concede defeat before. Nice pass, Maddie. I know the score of the game. I don't know why I'm getting so wound up about it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Parker, great pass from Parker. He's playing great.
Super composed, man. So
now something I did find interesting watching this back. Mitchell doesn't play much in the fourth.
It was so Demetrius was scoring at will. Matty Parker was having a great game. Delaney was doing a really good job on Martell. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So that was kind of my mind frame with that, to be honest. And Luke come up to me actually during the third and was like, "I know I haven't played much. Don't feel you have to put me in. Maddie's doing a great job out there."
That's great. That's great to have.
Yeah, you never, to have someone like that is seriously massive blessing. So and that's infectious on everybody else. Like the bench was always really high. Everyone, we had like you can see Spencer right now up there, and if you can't really ask for much more than that, to be honest. So,
And your rotations in the fourth, you
yeah,
trying to keep your best players on, or you trying to
yeah.
know who's hot?
I'm trying to keep people. If they're having a positive impact in the game, then I'll keep them on until they either ask to come off or they're not having a positive impact anymore. So, especially in the fourth quarter, I mean, 2 great rebounds from Garrison and Lauritz there, and then Demetrius hits that. So.
Momentum is well and truly with you now.
Yeah, exactly. So
Even though the scoreboard doesn't quite show it, that to get back-to-back offensive rebounds and then knock down a 3 like that, and now get the offensive rebound.
yeah,
And
that's something that Delaney did really well in this game. He was really physical with Martel off the ball, and I think Martel actually had a really good game, but it was really hard work for him, and it was really out of his rhythm. He had to really pull some tricks out of his bag to score. So
he scored 27.
Yeah,
got 10 or 24. So he had to work for his shots, that's for sure.
30, 35, 36%, something like that. So
you're running head tap again. You're back into head tap.
Yep.
Same reasons.
Yeah. Eamon's on court. You can see the cross stream happening there. Oh, I don't know what happened that one, but it's a bit late. It's a bit stopping started, so I can't see.
That's a tough shot. You live with that, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Like I don't think there was many shots in the game that Thames Valley made where I was hugely there. I mean, there's going to be a few, like Johnson's layup, but I don't think there was I can't remember many else where I was really like, okay, this really can't happen again. You know, if teams are going to beat you after, you know, a 4 dribble move, jump shot at the top of the key, then I don't, you know, what else can you just got to adjust to that and do what you can, really. So
up 7, 5 minutes to go. What are you thinking?
Oh yeah, so this was the time I think we really showed our character. We kind of really dug in deep, and we had a lot of plays which were you know, this is just really good. Like, we're just absolutely chasing teams. I know we got the foul, but I think that's an open 3 from Martel, which would have been 3 points in a 2 or 3 point game again. We ran him off, and this is where Ritz gets the elbow in the eye. It was funny, like his eye was black during this bit. He gets in the shower after the game, and his whole face, just with all the hot water, just all blows up.
Are you offering your business services there, or you
I slipped him a business card after that. Yeah, so
full price, I hope.
No such thing as mates rates in this industry.
But is that a big loss, or you happy with Atkinson coming in? He had a great game up to this point.
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, losing one of your stars is going to affect us, especially at this kind of tense moment in the game. But I was happy with Tom to be in there. He had a dodgy couple of minutes, I think, to start with, and then he had some really, really big plays down the end. I think he gets a steal and a fast break layup, which kind of sends the game for us, really. So.
And Tom's an Aussie.
Tom is an Aussie with a British passport, correct? Yeah.
That's gold dust, right?
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah.
There's Parker again with another 3 in the court, up 8. 4:40 to go.
Being up 8 with 4.5 minutes to go, I really would take that as well. This is an excellent switch as well, like really making Blaine work for it. That got given as a goaltend.
Oh yeah.
Which is obviously an excellent call. So.
Moving on. Weather's nice.
Yeah. This coronavirus, eh? Yeah. Yeah. So that was but you know, we recovered really well. We didn't really let that stop our momentum. You know, he missed a free throw, and I think.
Now, are you wanting the guy? You're up 6.
Yeah.
Considering out possessioning them, so running the shot clock down, or are you guys just play naturally?
We'll just play naturally at this point. I think 4 minutes is a little bit too long to gamble like that, in my opinion. Unless you know you've got someone who can really get a score anytime they want, and I didn't want to take that for granted. I'm playing naturally as long as we're. I'm definitely telling them not to rush, and I'm saying every shot we've got to take has got to be a good shot, as you know, a layup for Delaney there, and we go back and do the same thing again. But
He's noticed the mismatch there.
yeah, it breaks down, but again, Tom comes up clutch with a great big offensive rebound, and now we can burn some clock, and Demetrius gets in and gets the foul. So
yeah, it was great possession there.
Yeah.
Now, from someone who hasn't been a part of your team, but knowing the personnel, you've got two experienced guys on your bench in Mitchell and Ward Hibbert, but
Yeah.
you keep Parker on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that as an opportunity for him to grow as a player?
For sure, but I'm also, watching the game that's in front of me. He's making a really great, he hit two massive threes. He's really composed when he's on the basketball, and he's having a really positive impact with everybody there. So, don't break it if it, don't fix it if it ain't broken, really. So don't break it either. But so yeah, I mean, what's also good is I know at any moment that if Matt seems to, if anyone needs to, if I need to change things up, then I've got Wardy and Luke on the bench to kind of bring things back to normality if I need to, really. So again, and like that's a really underrated thing. Matt's just fighting under that basket there, and the pressure that he's put on there is probably, that's a 90% layup under the basket, and he's just been really physical with people a lot bigger than him, and he's missed it. And we've got the chance to regroup again. So
from watching this back, you can really tell that you're a really close team. Like Mitchell and Ward Hibbert sitting on the bench right now could quite easily have sat there and been like, I'm an experienced player, I'm one of the best players on this team, why am I not on the floor? But they're up, making decisions, calling stuff out. You've got to be proud of what you created there.
Yeah, I mean, this game really emphasised, kind of, as I said earlier, the potential that we had as a team. So I think, as I said, one more year together is in similar circumstances, and we would have been great, really. So we were just, I think we had a lot. We were very unlucky at certain points during the season. We had a really tough start where we weren't exactly getting blown out by teams, but we couldn't really find that. We came into the season. That's a great hustle play by Tom. We came into the season. We had 9 new guys, and those new guys had never played Division 1 before. They've been players who've played at higher levels, but this is a completely different kettle of fish. So it took us a while to gel, and it didn't always happen. But when it did, this was the result. So,
Believe you're going to win yet?
Still making me nervous because I know what's coming as well. So.
I get that feeling as well. It's odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, good. Up 10. Thames Valley in foul trouble.
Yep. We've still got a foul to give.
You're encouraging guys to get to the hoop.
You see how quick I was off the mark then to get the towel? Oh, lightning. Oh, yeah. Nice little poke. This is the player. Yeah. Like, he turns it over, but, I mean, it's a really big poke from... it's a really good defensive stop from...
Look, Delaney Powell moves on, straight back on defense. That's great.
He knows what he's got to do. He's got to pick up Martel.
He had a great defensive. He had 6 steals in this game.
Yeah.
And 17 points. And he has played Division 1, so he would have been one of the few guys that have played Division 1 previously.
It was Matt, Luke, and Delaney were the 3. I mean, Garrison Demetrius went through the NCAA system. Ritz has played at a pretty high level in the Netherlands. So these aren't, they're not playing at low levels. But I think Division 1 is really underrated in terms of the quality of its importance and experienced players, especially the coaching. I think the coaches are really, really underrated in Division One. You've got some really excellent coaches here who are going to be, really, really successful in.
Are there any coaches
In
you
whatever
enjoyed
they do.
going up against?
What's that? Sorry.
Were there any particular coaches you enjoyed going up against?
I really enjoy. I mean, I've got some personal relationships with a lot of them. So, like, obviously, I've known Drew at Heckle for a while. Lloyd Gardner, I've always admired growing up. He was part of the program where I was a junior at. I know he's not there anymore, but James Vera, I've known for a long time. Alan Keane, I think is an excellent coach, and I follow a lot of his stuff now. Carl Brown, I used to play for Carl, so it was always good to go up against Carl. So it was just, I think the coaching community is when I first kind of started coaching at this level, I was really surprised at how close the coaching community is. Matt Guyman as well. Matt Guyman is an excellent coach. What he did with Solent this year is unbelievable.
Sure.
So, I enjoyed going up against everyone, and I definitely learned loads from every coach that came up against. This was a great play. Yeah, it was at that point that I knew the game was pretty much over, I think.
You could say it was a good dunk.
It was
That was
slam
terrible.
dunk.
But before that, you were shouting, "Move it, move it."
Yeah.
Why?
We'd got a bit stagnant the last few possessions, I think, and I wanted us to really move them. I again, through scouting, we knew that their first help rotation was pretty good, but their second one wasn't. So I wanted us to move it, make them help move it again, and then attack. Hopefully they'd be late and either foul us or we'd get an open layup. So.
Mm-hmm. Now you're up 14 with 1:30 left. Looking back on this game,
Yep.
would you consider fouling certain people?
I'd have to have a look at who was shooting well at this point, but yeah, I probably would have been okay with us fouling the big guy.
And that's a tactic you'd look to adopt?
I'm undecided on those kind of stuff. I know some coaches who would and who are dead for it, and I know some coaches who aren't. I have the philosophy: you do everything that's in your control. So, like, if even a dog has its day. If you put someone at the free throw line with no defense and only himself to work against, then I would give that person the benefit of the doubt, and I don't really want to put people in that position. And also, it opens up all sorts of spots. He could hit the first, and then we could have a bad rebound, and that opens up the possibility of them scoring again or eating up possessions, which we would rather have. So, I actually think we turn the ball over here.
How soaked is your jumper at this point?
I am swimming at this point. Oh no, good. Yeah.
Was that a play? I think that was your timeout. Did you look to run that?
I did, yeah.
Another slap. Another.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I got some divine intervention from somewhere, but yeah, that was one of the ones I drew up. So that was a good play from them to foul so early as well.
Mm-hmm. Good making free throws at big
I
time.
think they actually get a few threes after this, and I started to get a little bit panicky.
And the jumper is just a swimsuit.
Yeah. Because I think we take. I think this last 80 seconds or so, we take our foot off the gas. I think we're already convinced that the game's over. Yeah, Johnson hits one, and I think McLemore hits one.
Now that's from playing the game. That's not an easy layup. It looks like an easy, but it's not. It's not an easy layup with knowing shot blockers on your back.
Yeah, a 6-10 shot blocker's coming. Yeah, we turn the ball over here, and they hit a three out of this. I think and I start to get a little bit mad.
Should you have used the timeout at any point now?
I probably should have called one here.
I can't believe they're shooting shots like that. But
yeah. See, and I think this is why we did such a good job of shutting Blaine out.
Yeah, Blaine doesn't hit a three in the second half. So
Yeah.
again, another tap on the back for you.
Oh, what are you doing? Oh, they are shooting everything, aren't they? Yeah, statistically, one of them's got to go in.
Yeah, this is quite an and then there's an offensive foul.
I definitely should have called a timeout. Maybe I've only got one left.
I think you have
I
one. Would you, looking back, would you have called a timeout? Would you potentially advance the ball if it was your ball?
probably wouldn't have advanced it, but I would definitely would have called a timeout.
Okay. How comes you wouldn't have advanced it?
Because that takes the shot clock down to 14.
Okay.
So I would have used more of the clock. I actually did this against Bradford and argued with probably every coach I've come up against. So half of them agreed with me and half of them didn't. It didn't cost us the game, but it would probably it's very controversial act. I probably would have got Mitchell at this point as well for Atkinson, maybe. I think I called it. Yeah.
That was your time out there.
Yeah.
And you're considering making personnel changes?
I think I'd bring in Luke at this point, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Just
right.
needed a bit more leadership, yeah.
But hey,
4 guys all can shoot free throws.
Yeah. And
We've got Gareth.
that was deliberate, was it? Getting 5 guys on the floor that can shoot free throws?
Yeah. I knew I wanted us to seal the game. 4, actually 5 guys who can handle the ball as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I think that's a great point for anyone watching at the end of the game. Getting 5 guys who can shoot, 5 guys who can handle the ball. That's important.
Yeah.
As I said that, it's a turnover.
Needed some composure. We just didn't have any composure, but I think we took our foot off the boil a little bit. Allowed them to have a little bit of momentum, and it just got really scrappy at the end.
Look at Jaffa by the fire exit. He's missed all of this.
Yeah, he missed it. Oh, he couldn't. He doesn't barely remembers the game. Yeah. I think I'm trying to get a guy in at this point. I think I'm trying to get the other big boy in.
But you have six guys in double figures.
Yeah.
I'll be pleased with that.
Yeah. I think I was, as a game, considering they had what 50 at half time. We kept Freckleton to minimal points in the second half. I think before that little flurry at the end, I don't think Johnson was having a particularly good offensive game. So yeah, now we'll run down. Yeah, I think Powell hits these. I think Delaney hits his free throws, and then.
So biggest reflections from the game?
Definitely showed our potential of what we could have been. Definitely showed that we could hang with the big as a Division 1. And when we executed our game plan and played with a lot of confidence and belief, that we could have been a really scary team.
Mm-hmm. Great picture. It's not easy to go to Uxbridge College and play Thames.
It's like a swimming pool in there. To be honest, I really like Thames Valley as an organisation. I like Robert. I think they look after people when they're there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really good place it's a really nice place. They've actually managed to build up a pretty decent atmosphere there as well. So it's a nice place to play.
With your post-game talks, are they player-led? Do you lead them?
Yeah, so I will send them into the changing rooms first, and then I will deliberately be a bit slower in going in. Okay. Normally people like Delaney or Matt Wood-Hibbert will start some conversation, and then I'll come in, and my post-game talks aren't normally that long. Okay. I really like to kind of I think dwelling on a game very, very soon after it's happened, I think can be massively influenced by how the game has gone of it. So I don't really think that's massively productive or good for my well-being, depending on how it's gone. Mm-hmm. I'm really someone who likes to look at it very, very soon, and I kind of have to kind of stop myself from really looking at it. I normally try and give myself 24 hours before I analyse anything. Normally with a glass of wine or a beer, or a beer because I'm a bloke,
But no, that was brilliant. Thank you very much.
Good.
The
Oh,
first,
thank you, mate.
I really enjoyed that, so thank you. And just
Yeah, me too.
one last. Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you asking me as well, man. So this is a really great idea. I really hope other people engage in it as much as I hope they do. So